Missing one update can mean your work permit expires, your travel gets delayed, and your family keeps waiting in fear with no clear answer again tonight. Everything in this video is for educational and informational purposes only and is not legal advice. There has been so much worry about delays, tighter rules, extra vetting, and the sense that the system only moves when it chooses to. But now, as we move through April 2026, something important is starting to break through that pressure today. We are seeing real movement in parts of the green card and visa system. It is not a full fix, and it is definitely not a guarantee for everyone, but it is enough to matter.
And when you have been stuck for months or even years, even a few months of progress can make the difference between feeling trapped and feeling like your life is finally starting to move again at last. In this video, we're looking at the April 2026 movements now showing up across green card categories, visa processing, and case progress, and why this moment is giving many immigrants and families a reason to breathe a little easier after such a long stretch of waiting for now. If this update helps you, please tap the bell, subscribe, and like the video so you can get updates sent straight to your phone today. Now, let's get into the video. The first reason this update matters is because the April 2026 Visa Bulletin is not just sitting still in several major categories. We are seeing dates move forward. That may sound technical, but for immigrants, priority dates are not just numbers on a chart. They represent missed birthdays, delayed weddings, children getting older, paused jobs, postponed travel, and families living between two timelines all at once. So when those dates move even by a few months, it tells people that the line is not completely frozen. It tells them the system is still alive. On the family-sponsored side, there is movement that people have long waited to see now. In the final action chart, F1 for most countries advanced from November 8, 2016 to May 1, 2017, while March moved to April. F2B moved from December 1, 2016 to May 22, 2017. F3 moved from September 8, 2011 to December 22, 2011. F4 moved from January 8, 2008 to June 8, 2008. These are not tiny changes in every case. In some categories, this is meaningful movement, especially for those who have been waiting and worrying that the line would stop again. And for the F2A category, which matters deeply to spouses and children of green card holders, the final action date stayed at February 1, 2024 for most countries, with a separate Mexico note, which means that category is still holding steady instead of sliding backward for now. Now, here is where the update becomes even more important for people inside the United States hoping to file adjustment applications right away. USCIS signaled that for April 2026, family-sponsored applicants can use the dates for filing chart. That matters because filing is not the same as final approval, but it is still a huge step. Filing means getting your I-485 into the system. It can mean applying for work authorization, travel permission, and getting into a more stable part of the process. It can mean no longer standing outside the door just waiting for permission to knock. For many immigrants, being allowed to file is the moment when a case starts to feel real, and the family filing chart itself also moved in visible ways. F1 advanced to March 1, 2018 for most countries. F2A remained current on that filing chart. F2B advanced to August 8, 2017. F3 moved to November 22, 2012. F4 advanced to May 15, 2009. For families who have spent years hearing that everything is backlogged, oversubscribed, or delayed, this kind of chart movement sends a very different message. It says that April 2026 is not just another month of silence. It says there is motion. The employment-based side also brings something many workers, especially those waiting on green card timelines, have been eager to hear recently. Several employment-based categories moved ahead from March to April. And in some places, the movement is strong enough to draw people's attention immediately. For all chargeability areas except those listed, EB2 final action moved from October 15, 2024 to current. EB3 final action advanced from October 1st, 2023 to June 1st, 2024. EB4 moved from July 15th, 2021 to July 15th, 2022. These are the kinds of moves that can reopen real conversations inside households. Should we prepare documents now? Should we speak with our lawyer now? Should we move forward with the next step instead of waiting in fear for another month? For India, where so many families and professionals watch these charts with deep anxiety, there was also movement too. EB2. India final action moved from September 15, 2013 to July 15, 2014. EB3. India held at November 15, 2013 in final action, which was not the breakthrough many wanted, but the filing chart still showed forward movement in that category. China also saw movement in certain employment categories, including EB3 final action moving from May 1, 2021 to June 15, 2021. So, while the progress is uneven, it is still progress, and right now, many immigrants are looking for exactly that. Not a miracle, not empty promises, but measurable movement instead. There is another part of this April 2026 story that should not be missed. USCIS appears to be allowing employment-based applicants to use the dates for filing chart for April 2026 as well. That is a very important signal, because it can let more people file earlier than they would if they were forced to wait only for final action dates. And again, that matters because filing opens doors. It can bring work permits, travel documents, and a stronger legal position while the case is pending. In a system where so much feels uncertain, getting a case filed can feel like finally getting your foot inside a door that has been shut for years. Now, let's talk about the National Visa Center, because a lot of people waiting abroad or waiting for consular processing feel forgotten in these conversations. The NVC update from mid-April also gives a sign of movement. As of April 13, 2026, NVC said it was creating cases received from USCIS on March 21st and reviewing documents submitted on April 7th. That does not mean everyone moves instantly either. It does not mean every embassy is fast, but it does show NVC is continuing to actively process incoming work, review documents, and move cases through the system instead of letting everything sit untouched for months. For families abroad waiting for interviews, that matters a lot. The State Department's Force Scheduling Status tool adds another layer of visibility that immigrants can actually use today. It lets people see which documentarily complete month is being scheduled at a particular embassy or consulate in a specific category. That may sound like a small technical feature, but when your future depends on a consulate abroad, visibility matters. Transparency matters. Knowing whether your post is moving and roughly which cases are being called can ease some of the emotional chaos that comes from total uncertainty. That is why this moment feels different from a lot of the updates immigrants have heard before. This is not just one headline or one promise. This is movement showing up across multiple parts of the system at the same time. The Visa Bulletin moved. USCIS opened filing access. NVC is actively processing. The interview scheduling tool shows more case visibility. When you put those pieces together, you get something many immigrants have not felt in a while. The sense that the machine is still moving. But we also need to be honest, because immigrants do not need false hope. They need clear hope. And clear hope means saying two things at the same time. Yes, there is movement in April 2026. Yes, some families and workers may now be closer to filing, closer to approval, or closer to interview scheduling than they were just weeks ago. But no, this does not mean the system has become easy. It has not. There are still serious concerns about stricter vetting, longer scrutiny on some cases, and operational differences from one post to another. The current administration's immigration approach in 2026 keeps emphasizing stronger screening and tighter control across several areas overall. So, while there is relief in these green card and visa moves, people still need to proceed carefully, submit complete files, Respond quickly to any RF, and avoid assuming a chart move means automatic success overall. Still, this is exactly why this update matters so much. Good news in immigration does not always arrive as one giant victory. Sometimes it arrives in pieces. A date moves, a filing chart opens, a case creation timeline shortens. A consulate begins scheduling more interviews. A spouse waiting abroad gets one step closer. A worker stuck in limbo finally becomes eligible to file. A family that has been scared to plan ahead begins talking again about the next 6 months instead of just surviving the next 6 days. And for many immigrants, that emotional shift is not small at all. It changes everything. Because immigration waiting is never passive. It affects money, housing, work, schooling, travel, aging out risks, health, and family stability. It affects whether you renew a lease, whether you switch jobs, whether you book a trip home, whether you accept an opportunity, or whether you keep telling your children to wait one more time this year. So, when April 2026 brings visible movement in green card and visa processing, it is not just news for lawyers and trackers. It is news that affects real lives. That is also why many viewers need to hear this clearly today. If your category has moved, this is not the month to stay disconnected from your case. Check your priority date carefully. Check whether USCIS is using the filing chart that benefits your category. Check your CAC account if you are at NVC. Make sure your civil documents, affidavit of support, DS-260, and supporting records are not outdated or incomplete. If your priority date is approaching, this is the time to prepare like movement is real, because in April 2026, it is. For those still not current or those whose category barely moved, I know this update may feel bittersweet. You may hear good news and think, good for whom? That frustration is real too. Not every family gets relief at the same time. Not every nationality sees the same progress. Not every category moves when it should. But even then, broad movement across multiple charts still matters because it shows the system is not completely locked. And when there is movement in one part of the system, it can sometimes create momentum, pressure, and visibility in others over time. So, the real takeaway from April 2026 is this. After months of stress, backlog talk, and fear about tighter immigration rules, there are finally visible signs of forward movement for many immigrants. Green card lines advanced, visa filing windows opened, NVC processing stayed active. Interview visibility improved. The pressure is not gone, and the system remains difficult. But this month gave many people something they have not had for quite some time. A reason to think their case may truly be moving closer rather than farther away now. That's all we have for this bulletin. The U.S. Visa News Daily channel offers all visa guidance and procedures for your U.S. immigration journey today. It is important to understand the United States immigration processing steps, visa application rules, processing times, forms, fees, and more. We will keep sharing details about U.S. visitor visas such as B1 and B2, work visas such as L1A, L1B, and H1B, student visas, green cards, immigrant visas, EB1, EB2, EB3, EB4, EB5, and family immigrant visas across all major categories too. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the U.S. Visa News Daily channel now. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next.